Most people your age have been warned about sugar, salt, white bread, desserts, and even eggs. But here is what most people get wrong. One of the quietest threats to your arteries may be sitting in the same bottle, carton, packet, or takeout container you use every single week, and the most dangerous kind does not always taste heavy, greasy, or bad. In fact, the World Health Organization reports that high trans fat intake is linked with a 21% higher risk of coronary heart disease and a 28% higher risk of dying from it. Remember that number, 21%. Because by the end of this conversation, you will understand why an oil that looks clear in the pan can still leave damage behind in the walls of your blood vessels. And if you are over 65, that damage is not just about some distant event you imagine happening to somebody else. It is about whether you stay strong enough to walk across a parking lot without stopping, carry your own groceries into the kitchen, climb stairs without negotiating with your chest, and keep your independence without asking permission from your body. That is the real stake here. This is not a minor nutrition debate. This is about long-term blood flow, brain health, mobility, stamina, memory, and whether you get to keep doing the ordinary things that make life feel like your own life. My name is Dr. David Reynolds, and for more than 15 years, I have cared for older adults, reviewed peer-reviewed research, worked with patients after bypass surgery, after stents, after silent plaque was found on scans, and after those frightening wake-up calls that families never forget. I am not here to sell you a supplement. I am not here to scare you into a course, and I am not here to turn your kitchen into a laboratory. I am here because I have seen too many decent people do what they thought was healthy, only to learn later that the everyday oil in the kitchen was quietly working against them. And stay with me until the end, because number 5 surprises almost everyone, even people who think they do not eat fried food, and it may already be hiding in meals you trust. Before we go further, drop your age in the comments, or if you know it, your last LDL cholesterol number. I read every single comment, and those numbers help me understand what this community is actually living through, not what a glossy brochure pretends life looks like after 65. Before I give you the list, you need a simple science primer, because if you understand the mechanism, the list stops feeling random and starts feeling obvious. There are 3 ideas I want you to keep in mind. The first is LDL oxidation. LDL is often called bad cholesterol, but that phrase is too simple to teach you anything useful. Think of LDL like delivery trucks moving fat and cholesterol through your bloodstream. When those trucks are damaged by heat, smoke, and unstable fats, they are more likely to crash into the artery wall and start trouble. The second idea is inflammation. That word simply means your immune system stays slightly irritated, like an alarm system that never fully turns off. Think of your arteries like the smooth lining inside a new garden hose. Inflammation roughs that lining up, and once it gets rough, sticky particles can grab on more easily. The third idea is endothelial dysfunction. That is a technical term, so let me translate it right away. It means the inner lining of your blood vessels loses its flexibility. In plain language, your artery stops acting young. It stops relaxing well, blood has a harder time moving through, pressure rises more easily, and the whole system becomes less forgiving. Keep those 3 mechanisms with you: oxidation, inflammation, and stiffness, because we are going to come back to them again and again. 1. Partially hydrogenated vegetable oil. Here is what it does inside you. This is an industrial oil that has been chemically changed so it stays more solid and shelf-stable, and that process creates trans fat. Think of trans fat like bent puzzle pieces inside a smooth zipper. They do not fit the machinery of your cells well, so they jam the system, raise LDL, lower helpful HDL, and make plaque formation easier. According to the World Health Organization, high trans fat intake increases coronary heart disease by 21% and coronary heart disease deaths by 28%, and industrial trans fat contributes to more than 278,000 deaths each year worldwide. That is not a small number. If you ignore this one, you may be eating your way toward a narrower artery without any pain at all until the day you suddenly do feel it. And by then, the conversation is not about prevention anymore. It is about damage control. So what should you do instead? Read labels for the words partially hydrogenated oil, even if the front of the package says 0 grams trans fat. Small amounts can hide in convenient serving sizes that look harmless. Crackers, pie crusts, coffee creamers, canned frostings, frozen biscuits, and cheap pastries have all been commonplaces for these fats to hide. Let me tell you about a patient I will call Martha, 72 years old, from Tulsa. She was careful with sugar. She walked every morning. She never missed her blood pressure pills, and she still could not understand why her LDL kept creeping up. My first reaction was not fear. It was frustration, because she was honestly trying. Then we looked at the crackers, pie crust, frozen biscuits, and creamer she used almost every day. They all contained hardened oils. 3 months after replacing them with oatmeal, plain yogurt, walnuts, fruit, and olive oil-based spreads, her LDL dropped, and she told me the morning heaviness in her chest had faded. Her exact words were, "I feel less coated inside." That sensory detail stayed with me. Synergy tip: this change works even better when you pair it with extra virgin olive oil at dinner, because you are not just removing harm, you are replacing it with something more supportive of your blood vessels. 2. Reused deep frying oil. Here is the part that should concern you most. The danger is not only the oil itself, it is what repeated high heat does to that oil. Think of cooking oil like a paper clip. Bend it once and it may hold. Bend it over and over and it weakens, snaps, and changes shape. Reused frying oil forms oxidation products and free radicals, unstable molecules that can irritate the artery wall and damage those LDL delivery trucks we just talked about. A large study from the Million Veteran Program looked at 154,663 adults, average age about 64, and found a clear dose-response pattern. Among people who ate fried food less than once a week, 14.6% developed coronary artery disease. In those eating fried food every day, the rate rose to 18.3%. That rise matters, especially after 65, when your recovery reserve is already smaller and the body has less room for repeat injury. Let me tell you about someone I will call Frank, 68 years old, from Dayton. He was not deep frying in his kitchen every night. He was stopping for fried fish, fries, and chicken from the same few places 4 or 5 times a week. He told me the smell in the bag on the drive home was comforting, like Friday nights when his kids were young. But his triglycerides were high, his blood pressure was drifting up, and he got winded carrying laundry upstairs. We switched him to baked fish, roasted potatoes, pan-seared chicken, and soup on the days he wanted something easy. Within months, he said the greasy aftertaste and the afternoon slump were gone, and his daughter later told me he was walking farther without complaining. So what should you do instead? Keep deep-fried food to rare occasions, and when you eat out, ask for grilled, baked, roasted, broiled, or steamed options. At home, use a light sauté with fresh oil, not oil that has been heated again and again. If an oil smells stale, sharp, fishy, or oddly bitter when it should not, throw it out. 3. Coconut oil as your everyday main oil. Now I know some of you were told coconut oil is natural, so it must be harmless or even protective. Here's what most people get wrong. Natural is not the same thing as artery-friendly. Coconut oil is rich in saturated fat, and saturated fat can push LDL upward in many older adults, especially when it becomes the default fat used day after day. Think of your bloodstream like a river delivery system. The more saturated fat you load onto the barges, the more traffic pressure you create. A meta-analysis published in Circulation reviewed 16 articles, including 17 trials with 730 participants, and found that compared with non-tropical vegetable oils, coconut oil increased LDL cholesterol by 10.47 milligrams per deciliter. Let me tell you about Denise, 67 years old, from Sarasota. She started putting coconut oil in smoothies, using it for roasting vegetables, and adding a spoonful to coffee because an online wellness personality promised better energy and brain support. Instead, her LDL went up, and she felt disappointed and embarrassed because she thought she was doing something advanced and healthy. Once we swapped most of that coconut oil for extra virgin olive oil with a small amount of canola oil for cooking at slightly higher heat, her numbers improved, and she told me her kitchen felt normal again, less like a chemistry experiment. If you ignore this one, the consequence may be subtle at first. Your labs worsen a little each year, your arteries become a little less forgiving, and one day a calcium score or ultrasound shows plaque you did not know was building. So what should you do instead? If you love the flavor of coconut, use it occasionally, not as your daily default. Keep portions small, around 1 teaspoon when you use it, and do not stack it on top of butter, cheese, cream, and fatty cuts of meat in the same day. Synergy tip: if you replace coconut oil with olive oil and also add beans or oats 4 times a week, you improve both the fat side and the fiber side of cholesterol control. 4. Palm oil and palm shortening hidden in packaged foods. This one hides in plain sight, and that is exactly why it matters. You may not pour palm oil into a skillet, but you may be eating it in crackers, pastries, sandwich cookies, non-dairy creamers, peanut butter-style spreads, microwave snacks, and shelf-stable treats that sit in the cupboard for weeks. Palm oil is popular because it is cheap, stable, and easy for manufacturers to use. Your arteries do not care about the marketing. Here is what it does inside you. Palm oil contains a higher share of saturated fat than oils like olive or canola, and when it becomes the routine background fat of your diet, it can quietly push LDL in the wrong direction. Think of it like adding a little sand to the gears every day. One day does not ruin the machine. Years might. A meta-analysis in the Journal of Nutrition reviewed 30 articles reporting 32 clinical trials and found that palm oil increased LDL cholesterol by 0.24 millimoles per liter compared with vegetable oils low in saturated fat. Again, that is not a small number. Let me tell you about Eleanor, 74 years old, from Phoenix. She lived alone, hated waste, and stocked up on cheap snack cakes, sandwich cookies, and shelf-stable pastries because they lasted. When I asked what she ate with afternoon tea, she laughed and said, "Doctor, just 2 little treats." But those treats were built on palm-based shortening, day after day, week after week. We changed her afternoon routine to fruit, walnuts, plain popcorn with cinnamon, and sometimes whole grain toast with peanut butter that did not contain palm shortening. 6 months later, she had lost a little waist size. Her LDL moved down enough to avoid another medication increase, and she told me her tea break still felt comforting, just less heavy. So what should you do instead? Turn the package around. If one of the first fats listed is palm oil, palm kernel oil, or shortening, make that an occasional food, not a daily food. Choose snacks built around nuts, seeds, yogurt, fruit, or whole grains when you can. And remember the mechanism. Less saturated background fat means less pressure on LDL and less opportunity for plaque to grow quietly over time. 5. Restaurant fried oils hiding inside foods you think are harmless. Stay with me until the end because this is the one most people miss. Many older adults assume the problem is only obvious fast food, the bucket meals, the greasy burgers, the giant carton of fries. It is not. Fried tortilla strips on salads, crispy vegetables, battered fish at family restaurants, crunchy onions on casseroles, tempura shrimp in a bowl that looks light, even little crispy toppings at lunch spots can all carry the burden of high-heat oil. Often that oil is a commercial blend used for speed, cost, and repeated frying, and it may have been heated over and over before your meal ever reached the table. Here is what it does inside you. It turns a food that might have helped your arteries into a delivery system for oxidation, excess calories, and inflammation. Think of a healthy meal like a clean white shirt. Add one greasy topping cooked in tired oil and you have stained the whole thing. A major review in the BMJ found that higher fried food intake was linked with higher risk of major cardiovascular disease and heart failure, and the veterans' data I mentioned earlier showed the same dose-dependent concern in real-world older adults. Let me tell you about James, 71 years old, from Tampa. He proudly ordered salad for lunch almost every day. But the salad came with crispy chicken, fried onions, and crunchy strips. He looked at me and said, "I am doing everything right." My first reaction was not fear, it was frustration, because he truly believed the bowl protected him. Once he switched to grilled protein, beans, olive oil dressing, avocado, and nuts for crunch, his weight started easing down, and he told me he no longer felt sleepy at 2 in the afternoon. That sleepy, foggy feeling after lunch is something many people accept as normal. It is not always normal. Sometimes it is simply your body telling you the meal was far heavier and more inflammatory than you realized. So what should you do instead? When you order out, ask one simple question: is any part of this fried? If the answer is yes, ask for that item grilled, roasted, baked, or left off entirely. Use olive oil and vinegar when available. If you want crisp texture, choose toasted seeds, chopped nuts, or raw vegetables instead of battered toppings. And if you remember nothing else from today, remember this: the oil you do not see still counts. We are halfway through, and if this is helping you, subscribe and share this with one person you love. I mean that sincerely. A lot of seniors leave short appointments with a pill, a printout, and not nearly enough time to hear the truth in plain English. That is what this channel is for, giving you the truth your appointments often do not have time to cover. Share it with a spouse, a brother, a neighbor, or a friend who still believes all cooking oils are basically the same. They are not. Here is what most people get wrong. Artery disease is not built only by dramatic choices. It is built by repeat choices, the little things you stop noticing because they became routine years ago. So far, we have covered hardened trans fat oils, reused frying oil, coconut oil used too often, palm oil hiding in packaged foods, and restaurant fried oils hidden inside meals that look healthy on the surface. Let us bring it all together. One raises LDL sharply and distorts the structure of fat particles. Another creates oxidation products through repeated heat. Another quietly raises LDL because natural does not mean gentle. Another hides in shelf-stable snacks and turns convenience into a daily artery burden. And the last one stains healthy meals with inflammatory fried fat you never intended to eat. Different oils, same 3 core mechanisms: oxidation, inflammation, and stiffness in the blood vessel lining. Your goal is not perfection. It is fewer oils, steadier meals, and calmer arteries over time. Now let me give you a practical action plan. Number 1, go into your kitchen tonight and read every label on crackers, pastries, creamers, frozen dough, cookies, snack bars, and coffee add-ins. Number 2, choose one main home oil, ideally extra virgin olive oil, for low to medium heat and flavor, with canola oil if you need a higher heat option and want something neutral. Number 3, make fried restaurant meals the exception, not the routine. Number 4, if coconut oil is a daily habit, reduce it to occasional use and measure it. Do not free pour it. Number 5, build one simple heart-saving meal pattern you can repeat: beans or fish, vegetables, whole grains, and fresh oil, not tired oil. Number 6, ask your doctor to review your cholesterol trend, not just one isolated lab, because patterns tell the truth. And number 7, if you live with someone else, get them involved, because shared kitchens create shared outcomes. I want to leave you with something bigger than food chemistry. At this age, heart health is not vanity, and it is not about trying to look perfect in a mirror. It is dignity. It is being able to lift the laundry basket, remember a grandchild's name without that panicked pause, walk through a store without bargaining with your chest, carry a casserole to the table, laugh after dinner without silently managing symptoms, and wake up with enough energy to feel like yourself. That is why I care so much about these so-called small choices. They are not small. They shape the odds of the life you get to keep. And if you have already spent years cooking one way, hear me clearly, it is never too late. The body responds to relief. Arteries respond to better conditions. Inflammation can calm down. Numbers can improve. Energy can come back. Blood pressure can become easier to manage. Even confidence can return when you stop feeling confused every time you walk through the grocery store. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and in the comments, tell me which oil is in your kitchen right now, or which one you are ready to replace first. And tell me whether you cook mostly at home or eat out more often, because that helps me know what video to make next. I read every single comment.